What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the chronically charismatic Dr. Disaster, and if you ever wondered why people just don't relate to Doctor Who any longer, well, Russell T Davies will admit it outright. The show is no longer about Doctor Who. He is officially admitting that it's Doctor.
What the hell is even that?
This headline just popped up on my feed, and it explains an awful lot. Doctor Who is unapologetically queer in 2024, thanks to Russell T Davies. Doctor Who used to appeal to normal people, but now it is purposefully catered to a small subsection of the population. That is why the viewership is cratering so hard, and that is why this announcement that Doctor Who is coming to theaters for the season's grand finale is so funny. Apparently, getting buried in TV ratings wasn't enough. Russell T Davies wants to add a box office flop to his list of achievements.
Swallow this.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. We've added a lot of space pirates to the crew lately.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
No! We now have 32,000 a-holes sailing in this space pirate fleet, and with every 1,000 subscribers to the channel, I add another ship in order to house the newcomers. This time, we added the Ishimura from the video game Dead Space because it is one of the coolest designs on a ship of all time. If you have any suggestions of your own for future ships to add to the fleet, let me know down below, and in the meantime, I will continue to do my best to earn your viewership.
I knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
But let's dive on into this article about Russell T Davies and see what this jackass has to say about modern Doctor Who. Keep in mind the abysmal ratings of the show as we read this. As I'm sure most of you know by now, the first 3 episodes of the new season had absolutely catastrophically bad overnight ratings, and the full week ratings of the first 2 episodes are awful as well. Basically, they have hemorrhaged over half their audience from the days when Jodie Whittaker first started her run as the Doctor. Lots of apologists out there are attempting to claim the show has never changed. We, the audience who are leaving, are just a bunch of ists and phobes. But it has changed. The show is different now, and this article lays it out in clear detail. Let's read from here where it says Russell T Davies is leaning into Doctor Who's queer themes because it just feels natural. Queer themes have always been part of Davies' writing as a gay man himself, and as a queer person myself, seeing the series openly embrace the LGBTQ+ community has only made me love Doctor Who even more. From Yasmin Finney's Rose Noble getting her hero moment as a trans woman in The Star Beast, to little indicators of a more fluid sexuality for the Doctor, the latest era of Doctor Who celebrates queerness while other mainstream shows are pulling back on their representation. Now let's talk about those little indicators of a more fluid sexuality from the Doctor, like for example, dancing the night away in a gay club, or talking about spending a hot summer with Houdini. That was about as subtle as an earthquake. But there is a stark difference between today's Doctor not just embracing LGBT stuff, but embracing any kind of sexuality at all, and the old Doctor that simply didn't care about that sort of thing. How many times did the Doctor get shown being hit on by some woman or something, only he just kind of ignored it? He pretended he didn't understand, or he simply didn't understand what she was doing. That simply wasn't what the show was about before. And now grafting sexuality onto the show these days is about as insufferable as this.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
But continuing on, Davies said, "No one's ever asked me to step back from writing queerness into the series. It doesn't even feel particularly queer to me, it just feels natural." Well, that's because you're no longer writing a character, you're writing yourself into a story. And that used to be considered a cardinal sin in writing, but these days we're just gonna pretend that it's cool. Anyhow, the article goes on, "While we were on the subject of queerness, I had to ask Davies about casting drag legend and queer icon Jinx Monsoon as part of a new pantheon of Doctor Who villains. What a joy," he said. "I'd actually known Jinx for a while, and I knew Jinx's husband. I was actually talking to Jinx's husband on the night they met. Michael said, 'I'm off for a date,' and I didn't know with whom. Then I was a guest at their Zoom wedding. They got married in the lockdown, and I gave a speech on Zoom. Davies went on to say that he's always admired Jinx. He attends Monsoon's Christmas show every year in Britain. I genuinely walk away from them dazzled by their invention," he said, praising her genius. "So when it came to writing Maestro, that just absolutely fitted everything I wanted to do. Casting Jinx was almost common sense, and obviously everyone else on the team agreed with that." Ah, yes, there's that echo chamber again. Everybody on their team said, "That's a great idea, let's go with Jinx Monsoon." And nobody on their team said, "Will this appeal to the average person, or will it drive them away?"
Who are you? My notation is Maestro. But what are you?
It's kind of raised the roof on Doctor Who slightly. It's allowed a madness and a freedom, said Davies. "I find that character more terrifying for the Doctor because the Doctor is very used to finding out the rules, working out the rules, and then using those rules against his enemy. But actually, when you're faced with the titanic god of sound and music and fury, then all rules are off. The Doctor has a very hard time defeating them, so it's a great battle. It's a wonderful battle. I mean, you've seen the end result. It's becoming one of everyone's favorites immediately because it's Titanic. I keep saying Titanic because it is so huge." It really wasn't though, was it? The first week's numbers for the show are in, and this episode, with Maestro and Jinx Monsoon, scored less than 4 million viewers. That, keep in mind, is a feat that has only been accomplished by one other episode in the modern Doctor Who era, The Legend of the Sea Devils, which was the second to last appearance of Jodie Whittaker. That got only 3.47 million viewers. It is the only episode lower than the Devil's Cord. Keep in mind that until the last few years, it was rare that any episode would have less than 6 million viewers, and yet here we are. And this jackass, Russell T Davies, is trying so hard to make it seem like his work isn't pathetic.
Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself. You are made of stupid.
And then we just got this announcement thrown out there. The last 2 episodes of the series will be screened in theaters on June 21st because apparently it wasn't enough to be embarrassed with TV numbers alone. The box office gets to kick their ass now. But I'm going to leave it there. Between Ncuti Gatwa telling us all to go touch grass instead of watch the show if we don't like its overtly queer direction, and Russell T Davies saying it is unapologetically queer, well, it's no wonder why this shit isn't being watched. But drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.